Good afternoon. I'm Patrick Simpson. The dissertation topic that I've been thinking of is hopefully a continuation of a master's thesis, which was looking at the effectiveness of the air campaign against Germany through how the bombers were used or misused during the war, how the bombers a lot of times were used in a tactical role, which wasn't what they were designed for, and how I guess the misuse of the bombers, how that affected the overall effectiveness of the campaign against Germany. Um, Looking through the database, I could find very little about anybody looking at bombers as a tactical role, but I found numerous dissertations over the effectiveness of strategic bombing. And three dissertations that I found that look at strategic bombings from different perspectives included David Douglas Berkey and his Aiming for Strategic Effect, the Evolution of the Army Air Force's Strategic Bombardment Campaigns of World War II, that was published in 2013. He argues that the precision bombing was not proven as effective as it was, as many of the upper commanders had hoped it would be. And as a result, toward the end of the war, that they had moved from precision bombing to area bombing to try and just destroy the Japanese and the German war-making facilities, as this dissertation looks at both the European and Pacific theaters. He uses a variety of sources. His was the most detailed in the use of sources, by using everything from lectures from the tactical school before World War II to letters, diaries, journals, memos, and various other correspondence, articles and books written by air power theorists and other men who help implement the overall strategy for the war. And of course, many of the most well-known books examining the effectiveness of the campaign after the war. Another one is Luke Truxell, The Failed Bomber Offensive, a re-examination of the combined bomber offensive in 1943, where from his perspective, he looks at just 1 year, the first year of trying to implement strategic bombing. He goes through all the issues and difficulties, the early problems of trying to implement that doctrine. One of his biggest arguments is why it failed is that we did try to combine with the British, who were more interested in bombing at night and in the area bombing, where we wanted to bomb by day with more of the idea of precision bombing. He argues that when we tried to combine with the British, that it was done without any really clear, defined plan. They were unable to determine which target should receive priority, and this ultimately led to confused and unfocused campaigns and, high losses and inconclusive results. He argues 1943 that effectively the strategic bombing campaign was indeed a failure. He uses also a variety of sources as well, using a lot of the Ira Ecker papers. He uses a lot of the books written before the war by the men who implemented and carried out the doctrine, who created the doctrine. And of course, many of the books that have been written since the war, examining, the effectiveness of the campaign. Interesting enough, he used very few articles, which I thought was interesting. The third one, real quickly, was written by Courtney Votko, Vojtko, not sure the pronunciation. Strategic Errors, U.S. Strategic Bombing Theory and Practice, which was published in 2015. He clearly argues that the strategic bombing campaign was, in the end, very ineffective against Germany, that the reasons for its ineffectiveness, including the lack of accuracy, that the technology really didn't exist, and therefore it was horribly inaccurate. It was always taking a large number of sorties to try to just destroy one target, that there was a lack of cooperation between all branches of the military, and basically it was in the end a failure. But he looks at it not only from World War One and the creation, the implementation, but he also even adds on how that we have evolved that strategic bombing, and how in later wars strategic bombing proved to be more effective after World War II. Thank you very much, and everybody, I hope you have a wonderful evening. God bless you all.